so I have a pitch for a movie. All right. So you've heard about Little Red Riding Hood, right?
No. Oh yeah, I think so. Maybe once or twice.
Okay, well, it's a famous fairy tale.
Okay.
Right? So
they're good boys.
There's technically there's one.
He's kind of a bad boy, I think. Actually,
yeah, he's more of a bad.
It's
dog.
a fantasy story, so
continue,
dogs can be bad in fantasy.
Okay, but what if we put more than one dog, right?
Oh, all right. Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna go fantasy,
that's what people want, right?
My fantasy is many dogs. Yes, this is true.
Okay, and then they all just pounce, and instead of like killing the grandma, she's like a porcelain doll, but they pounce on Little Red Riding Hood, and she just pets a bunch of dogs, and that's the film.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Gwen. Sorry, should I
Would
get
you like
Gwen out
to
of
do
here?
your joke again, boys?
What joke? I don't know what you're talking about.
The true horror is not having enough arms to pet all those good dogs.
Oh, that was my joke, yeah.
We wake up screaming, covered in dogs, but you only had 2 arms the whole time.
So instead of being covered in dogs, you're covered in sweat. Yeah.
Like I said, I have no arms, but I must pet.
Nobody will know anything more horrific than that. Welcome to Rough Cuts.
Werewolves.
They're coming. They're coming your way. They're here soon.
The Dark Lycanthropic Podcast. Goodbye, werewolf. Fangs for the memories. A subsidiary of Rough Cuts.
It's true. Every word.
A young girl feels her soul awaken to the call of emotions she cannot name. This is the Twilight World, where half-forgotten memories of childhood lead into a fantastic realm.
Was it a wolf or a man you killed?
When I killed it, it was a wolf. It turned into a man.
Here, dreams become reality, and our darkest fantasies come true.
The worst kind of wolves are hairy on the inside, and when they bite you, they drag you with them to hell.
Oh! Where's my daughter? Where did you come with my daughter? She ran away! No!
They say the Prince of Darkness is a gentleman.
Gentlemen always keep their promises. What have you done with my granddaughter? Nothing she didn't want.
The Company of Wolves, where fairy tales end and nightmares begin. The Company of Wolves.
We'll edit it. It's fine. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll just... Don't worry, edit around it. It's not my week to edit, it's cool. Hi, I'm your host, Ilian. This is my co-host and current editor for this week, Boix.
Hi.
And we don't need to redo it. He said he'd do it in editing. And then this is our cool special guest, Evil Urchin.
Hello, I ruined the take.
You also brought us this movie.
Indeed, yes. I saw this. It was completely random.
Before?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have seen it once before. No, I was just basically trolling around Shudder one night, and because every now and again I'll just watch a random movie on Shudder, and I just saw Company of Wolves, Angela Lansbury, David Warner. Okay, well I gotta watch this shit, and then I watched it, and I was like, oh, huh.
Yeah, so this movie has a really striking cover, which is a lady with a wolf mouth coming out of her mouth. So there's a snout.
Actually, I think it's the guy. It's the huntsman from the end.
Is it the huntsman?
Yeah,
it's the huntsman.
It is,
yeah,
it's that same shot. Yeah,
it is that same shot. But that's the striking cover. I remember that cover because it was at my local video store in the horror section, directly next to like Silence of the Lambs in the horror section, and a bunch of 80s schlock slasher films. This is right in the middle of them. Right? So, and it had a big horror sticker on it. It's like, this is a horrific tale. A terrible film of terror and scares.
Well, To be fair, we'll get to the transformations.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, my one concession to that is that the visuals in this can be pretty awful.
Yes. Yeah.
Or
sometimes
adorable.
there's a cute duck. Sometimes there's a terrifying transformation.
Yes.
It's a movie of extreme, I think is what we're getting at here.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyways, The Company of Wolves. It's a film that we watched. How's it going? This one's tough because it's kind of like, it's a bunch of vignettes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's an anthology film in disguise, is what it is.
It's an anthology film in disguise where there's a girl that is having a nap. She's sulking in her room in modern day.
Dreaming about her sister being torn apart by wolves.
Dreaming about her sister being torn apart by wolves. There's a great shot that I noticed right early on where she fell asleep reading like a horror anthology, and the cover of it has like a woman like reclined, kind of like screaming with like her arm up, and she's sleeping with her arm up in like a similar pose. And I'm like, okay, that's, yeah.
I believe the title was The Shattered Dream, I think, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was
so that's
indeed
also
the title.
ironic. Yeah.
Yeah. There's lots of little things like that. It's you saying that it's an anthology movie. It is also very, very much a movie that's like, it's got the same style and tone as, say, a Death of a Salesman, Glengarry Glen Ross, where it is very much like a stage play put to film.
Yes.
Less cursing than Glengarry Glen Ross, though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yes. There's not a lot that has the same amount of cursing as Glengarry Glen Ross.
Thanks, David Mamet.
So, with another anthology movie like Creepshow, it doesn't really get tied together in Creepshow. I think, is it Creepshow 2 that has the comic book, though? That
They both
kind of
do.
ties it together?
They both do.
Okay.
Mhm.
Because it tries to tie it together into one story, but in this story, the characters are being told stories from other characters, and those are the vignettes.
Within the dream that she's having.
Within a dream.
We got layers and layers and layers and layers.
And sometimes a dream within her dream within her dream.
And sometimes she's telling the story in her dream to another person that's in her dream.
Yes.
Sometimes a
And then
dog.
So like it's really confusing to figure out where we are and when sometimes, as far as the main plot goes.
When Satan pulls up in his Rolls Royce, which we'll get to as well, that also confuses things a little.
His like 1760 Rolls Royce. Let's make sure that we understand where we are.
Yeah, because most of the film takes place in a little medieval like village. Maybe medieval? It's very anachronistic medieval.
It's the 1980s.
What?
But it's
no. I got
UK,
it. I understand.
so.
It's Ren Fair medieval.
Yeah.
This film is very much a Ren Fair film for good portions of it.
Hey, listen, we've all been through, like, the German Black Forest, where it's got lots of baby tarantulas, boa constrictors, weasels, minks, iguanas, gigantic mushrooms, you know,
bunnies,
the regular things that you find there.
Well, again, you don't want to buy real estate in Mirkwood. I don't feel it's the best.
Yeah, I don't know why they're living in the Lord of the Rings world.
Yeah, no,
it
it's literally Mirkwood.
Sense.
It's literally, like, the first time you see the place where this village is, it's covered in gigantic spider webs, which are never really paid off beyond the tiny tarantulas we see.
No.
Which, the tiny tarantulas, they just kind of brush aside, like, fucking spider, get out of here.
And they have, like, a gigantic... It's all very fantastical. Like, there's gigantic mushrooms all over the forest that are bigger than people. Every single tree is one of those, like, gnarled, weird old trees covered in moss, and it's always night. There's no such thing as day. Like, even when it's day, quote-unquote, it's basically dark.
It's a Soulsborne movie. It's a Soulsborne.
Well, what I was trying to think of is a lot of the set design looks like it's out of an old Universal Monster movie, like the 40s or the 30s, the old black and whites. With the sets, the only difference is you don't get to see like the wooden boards. Although we did get a cemetery scene.
We did.
Which looked like it had wooden cutout, graves, gravestones. But it all is very classic monster movie fantasy with the giant mushrooms and everything.
The rear projected full moon in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
Which I suppose gives you like a storybook feel that they're kind of going for.
Yeah, I think the visual style of this movie is probably its strongest point.
Yeah, now the messaging in this movie is maybe not its strongest point.
It's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
It's got some progressive ideas, but some it's.
I'm not sure what it's going for. This is a film class study kind of a movie where I'm pretty sure you could read a lot of things into it, and you could also, and some of them would be intended and some of them wouldn't be, and like there's a lot to read out of this and a lot to read into it. It's very vague on a lot of what it's actually trying to say, which is why I was saying I think the visual style is almost stronger than anything else.
Well, the original writer was a woman named Angela Carter. I just pulled up her wiki real quick. English novelist, short story. Basically, she's known for feminist, magical realism, and picaresque works.
Yeah.
Feminist for the time, I would say, but yes.
The story's about a woman, coming of age, reaching womanhood. And that's playing a big part into the story.
Yeah, it's just an extended Little Red Riding Hood.
Meeting men, getting into sexuality, that type of stuff.
Wait, there's stuff like... What are you talking about? There's nothing like that in this movie. There's just like that montage of the white flower blooming and then a red drop hitting it and it slowly expanding. I think that has nothing to do with anything that you're talking about.
Yeah.
We gotta call George O'Keefe about this.
The other important things to remember is don't leave the path, don't stray from the path. Always follow God. Never open your legs.
The path is not the eyebrows across a man's forehead, because that path has to be broken. You cannot have a single path. If there is somebody with a unibrow, they're absolutely a fucker.
Sorry, any unibrow havers in the audience today.
That is
this film is not for you.
Literally stated.
This movie literally says, "Do not believe people with a unibrow. They're liars and cheats."
Don't stray from the path, girl. Never trust a man whose eyebrows meet.
They're probably
a
werewolf.
Joking when it first showed up, and then they actually followed through on that. That was legitimately a lesson in this movie. It's wild.
I learned that. Yeah, I learned that.
I cannot believe that they actually. Well, because the grandma's like, "Oh, don't trust men with unibrows," and it's kind of a throwaway line, where you think it's a bit of a joke, and Boyk started laughing about it and made a little joke about it.
Oh no!
And then the rest of the movie, every single, Urchin said, every single evil person in this movie is a guy with a unibrow. All of them. Or
a woman with a unibrow. Well, she's not really evil, I guess, at the end.
But she is a wolf.
She is a wolf who crawled out of the hell well.
That they drink from. What is up with the hell well?
Let's talk about the hell well. Yeah, let's talk about the hell well.
I can't talk about the hell well.
So the village is in the middle of Mirkwood, covered in spider webs, and in the center of the village is a mechanical steampunk well.
I'm pretty sure it's a toilet. Let's be honest.
It's a well, but it's a bird toilet.
No, they drink from it, but it's definitely a toilet well. And it's always covered in birds and bird shit, and they're constantly grabbing buckets of water from it. And then later on, we find out that the werewolves crawl out of the well and go back into it because it leads to hell.
Yeah, I mean, that's gotta be some pretty sulfury damn water, I imagine. It's got a little bit of a rotten egg stink around the village.
I mean,
that was like a story within a story within a story within her dream.
So was it real that the wolf came out of the well, or was it a hallucination from all the bird shit that they're drinking?
Well, the wolf / Cat's cast member, one of the two.
Yeah, that's true. that lady dressed up as the wolf was prancing around like oh god, what was her name? Anima or something from the Lost Skeleton of Cadavra.
Oh god, yes, yeah. Yes, Anima. Anima was her name, yeah.
Yeah.
Animalia.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes, Animalia.
Be quiet.
Well, I don't mean stop breathing, but don't exactly do a big dance number either. Now, that's almost exactly the kind of thing I was saying you shouldn't do. Seriously, Pammy, I don't know if I can do science with you dancing like that. Please stop.
Rower.
Just prancing about in a leotard. Like, although she's naked in this movie, but
this
film,
as you might have noticed, is very tough to talk about plot-wise.
Yes,
because
it's hard to go from
five
beginning to
plots.
end. It doesn't really have a through line. Just sort of things happen.
I mean, we could talk about each vignette. There's 5 of them that I counted.
That's true. Yeah, there are.
So, like, it starts off with our main character, Rosaline, sleeping in her
Which
bed.
version of her?
The modern day.
The 1980s Rosaline.
Okay.
And then she gets transported back in time to the far past year of 1982.
But not before we see. But not before we see her upsetting doll collection. Sorry, I just want to bring that up
why
real
does
quick.
she have so many fucking creepy dolls?
Every kind of creepy doll you can imagine. This girl's got it.
Like, it's like they went to the thrift store. Like, that's a creepy doll we need. That's a creepy doll we need.
That is exactly what they did. No, I'm sure that's exactly what they did for this movie. Yeah. Somebody went around to there was some PA or whatever that was running around to every fucking flea market in the area to find the creepiest dolls possible.
Yeah, and
I
some
hope
of them
got a
are
raise.
really gross because they're like stuffed dolls, like missing a nose and painted on mouth and stuff.
Like the Pillsbury Sack Boy or whatever that one was.
That one's weird. But so she's sleeping in bed. Her sister's harassing her and calling her a pest. So she imagines in this dream that her sister went into the woods, met a bunch of really cute dogs that really wanted pets with waggly tails, that were really excited to see her, and then she died because she was so scared she couldn't pet all the dogs, and she would rather die than not be able to do that.
Which, fair, I agree.
Yeah.
I can't pet this many dogs. Oh no!
I only have 2 hands.
I only have 2 hands. No. Oh, that is a horror.
So that's the first vignette.
It was a monkey's paw kind of situation where you're like, I wish that there were dogs that I could pet, and then there are too many dogs for your poor hands.
It does need to be noted though that it's supposed to be like a pack of wolves, but every single time this movie tries to do a pack of wolves, it is always just the happiest, nicest looking good boys you can imagine. Undercuts anything the film is trying to do, but you know what? I think we're okay with that.
It's all like fluffy German shepherds and stuff. Yeah.
That's the trick with a lot of these movies. There's very, very few that we've seen where they do a horde of wild dogs, like whether it's dogs or pretty much any of those kinds of movies. It's always really, really happy, tail waggy dogs that you can tell, and they're like, oh, it's a bunch of wolves, and they all jump on somebody, and you can tell that it's like as if they had like a ball or a treat in their hand, like you just got mauled by a bunch of them because they're all just, giving you licks and stuff. It's never ever does it seem scary. The one exception to that was the pack. And that was because it was legitimately dangerous.
Because they actually put their actors in danger. Yes.
Yes.
Well,
because
good.
Those dogs were way too overexcited, and they very legitimately were destroying that car.
Was it Deadly Eyes, the rat movie?
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
So that one had wiener dogs in rat costumes, and the wiener dogs would constantly run up and be like, "Oh my god, it's a human! I love them."
Yeah, and swarm them. Yeah,
and then never been able to do terrifying music.
Yeah, they're never able to do a horde of them because every single time you have to get a bunch of happy dogs because you don't want to put your actors actually in danger or hurt any dogs.
This has a Night of the Lepus problem where you can't just put a bunch of cute animals on screen and then make them scary.
Not even if you slow them down.
Unfortunately.
No. But okay, so that's the first vignette. The second vignette is Rosaline is talking to her grandma, who is never explained, but we think she's a witch or something.
She's Angela Lansbury. That's all we need to know.
She's just Angela Lansbury. I don't... Yeah.
She is definitely a witch. She has a... Okay.
Oh, yeah.
To put it in context as to why you'd think that she's a witch and why you're saying that, is that she's the granny in the woods and she's all by herself and she's kind of telling all these parables. But also, she has a mink, shawl. But it's alive. It turns and hisses. Yeah, it turns and hisses at dangers, like when the English boa constrictor tries to get them in the woods, and the mink just but it's very obviously a stuffed mink, so it's kind of shown that she's maybe mystical, magical in some ways, like maybe not a witch, but she has some kind of power.
it's
She has
never
her ways.
explained, so like it just happens, and I don't get it. Maybe it's part of the dream world. Maybe.
You'd think maybe it'd explain if something happens later, but then she just never shows up again after that.
No.
So
I feel like that is done. Sorry, I apologize for taking so much of this. I think that a lot of that is because she kind of tells Rosaline about she tells her the parable about that I think you're going to get into, where there's the dogs and Rosaline tells the story, but she said the grandma said it, where eventually there's like the French scene, and it's about a woman who takes her power back and goes out as a witch in the woods and has all of these dogs around her. And I feel like the grandma's role in this, in a lot of ways, is to kind of be this empowering figure for her. It's all vague, kind of half read in things.
Actually, hold on a moment. Is it possible that Grandma was the woman? I'm just thinking about that.
The woman?
Yeah,
the one
I
in
think
the well?
No. The woman at the party.
The woman at the party.
At the party?
As, like, her younger.
As the witch.
Yeah. I wonder if that was the implication.
I think that it kind of is. And if not, that's the implication, that she's that style of figure. Like, she's an old wise woman in the woods who kind of she doesn't have a man with her, so she's empowered by herself. And she's protected, right? Like, she has some kind of magical abilities or powers, like with the minks and stuff like that.
Well, okay, so let's get into that dream then. That's not the one I was going to talk about.
I guess.
Let's
yeah,
get
I know.
It doesn't really matter the order you talk about them, really. So.
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much
themes.
Elion's been day drinking, but let's move on to the...
Well, yeah, I want to talk about the themes of this movie. It's got interesting themes, okay?
All right.
It's a vibe movie. I want a vibe.
That's the whiskey talking. So, so dream 4, we'll skip ahead, is the dream where... Yeah, so I think it was the grandma telling her about this.
Oh, it was Rosaline. It was Rosaline telling to her mother.
Telling her mother. That's what it was. Okay,
as a story from her grandma. Yes.
There's a bunch of French aristocrats having a very French wedding.
Oh, but they're not really French. They're British French cosplayers.
In England, with their boiled chicken and water.
That's how you know they're British.
Yep.
That's
also
all
the whole. They're doing this. They look like French aristocrats, but they're all speaking in English accents. It's amazing.
Yeah. So they're all we're French. As one lady's like chomping on a chicken leg.
Oh, she loves that fucking chicken leg.
And then a pregnant lady who's Scottish wanders in, and she's like, "Oh, I wasn't good enough for you, and you decided to get married to someone else instead of me. Oh, I see how it is." And the moral here is what she says to them, which is, I think the wolves in the forest are more decent than the rich. I would rather get ripped apart and eaten by wolves than what you did to me.
I agree, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The wolves in the forest are more decent.
So then she's a witch, apparently.
Yes.
So she uses her magic to break a mirror that turns everybody in the party who's rich into a wolf. And by wolf, I mean a very cute dog.
With the fun transformation sequence with a lot of really cool shots in the mirror, though. That was nice. Like the broken mirror. Yeah.
Broken mirror, there's a lot of distorted faces that are like half transformed with muzzles and paws and things like that. But at the end, it's just a bunch of cute dogs in dresses.
I do also want to say, though, that it's really smart to do those kinds of effects in the mirror also, because it's all rubber suit monster kind of stuff. And if you just show it plain in the light of day, it looks terrible. But it looks really good when you do it in this weird distorted way in the mirror, because you can't see all the imperfections. Or if you do, it's because it's a shattered mirror, right? Like it hides it really well. It's a smart way to do it.
And they have to save a little bit of budget.
The whole time she's laughing. As they're all transforming. And then all the servants behind them are also like smirking and laughing while
loving this shit.
while a 3-piece string, like...
Yes. Yeah,
trio
classic
is
band
playing.
is still just
Yep.
playing
Hey,
the classical music.
they were paid to do their work. They're not going to stop for anything.
Although
I don't know what the
through-
hell the rich get into. I don't...
Halfway through this scene, I remember Boyks was like, what the fuck is happening with this music? Because it goes from classical music, and then it transitions to modern, like, I mean, not modern, but like late 1800s circus music.
Yes.
And then it transitions back to classical. This movie, again, this is a vibes movie. Fuck my supposed day drinking, which I have not done. Slander.
One of the few criticisms I would have is, again, the audio mixing. I don't know if it's Shudder or what, but God, the soundtrack was just overpowering everything.
That could be a Shudder problem. That could be for sure. But at the end, she walks up, like, all the dogs leave. They're not wolves, they're dogs. They all leave, and then she goes and has a laugh with the servants, and they all eat the rest of the food.
Good
and pop a cork. They even have the sound
cork.
of
Hell yeah!
They have
the bubbly boys.
Champagne.
We did it. We've eaten the rich.
And of course, the moral of this story is that then when she has a child, she brings it up to an actual tree, to the top of the tree, and rocks it there, because the wolves are there to serenade her and her baby. And I don't know what the fuck that meant, but
she's just styling on him at that point, really.
I was on board with the aristocrats, because they're fucking evil demon wolves. But I don't know what the hell the baby in the tree thing was about.
Further, we may see that the ship is religion, and the shipwright is Richard Dawkins. The crewmates are empiricism, and the barnacles are Neoplatonism, and the captain of that ship was Albert Einstein. What the hell was I talking about?
So that's where they lost me.
Like Urchin said, it was her teabagging them afterwards.
That is literally what it is. That is it.
That was literally what it was, yeah.
I think there were many times in this movie where characters are like, yeah, it was just a skill issue. They just had to be better.
God, yes.
That's why I think this is a Soulsborne movie. Everyone's saying get good.
Oh my god, like right away. Sorry, I just need to go to my personal favorite skill issue one, which is right after her sister gets mauled in the woods. Because that's actually canonical in this village kind of thing, is like, then she goes and visits her grandma, and it's like, oh, her parents are sad and grieving because her sister died. And she goes, oh, well, you need to learn all about the ways of the world. Let me tell you all these stories, because otherwise you'll stray from the path. Don't stray from the path. You can't go into the woods. And she goes, and you need to learn a lot of things about the woods. Otherwise you'll end up like your sister. She didn't know anything. And just starts dunking on the sister about like, skill issue, baby.
Don't take on so. It's something you have to learn, otherwise you'll end up like your poor dear sister.
Yeah, so the grandma's doing that, but then Rosaline also asks, well, why didn't she just save herself?
Oh yeah, that was great.
Your only sister, all alone in the wood, and nobody there to save her. Poor little lamb.
Why couldn't she save herself?
Yep.
Why did she not just pull her bootstraps?
Why didn't you just parry, you idiot?
There's some really great moments of like, I don't know, if I were attacked by a whole pack of wolves, I just wouldn't.
I would simply swim out of the sub, but
yeah.
Fuck it.
Oh god.
Yeah, but okay, so that was dream number 4. Let's go back to dream number 2.
Okay, sorry.
A little bit earlier in the movie. So, another one of Grandma's tales is about how wolves are hairy on the inside.
Yeah, it's a common arc phrase in the film.
The worst kind of wolves are hairy on the inside. And when they bite you, they drag you with them to hell.
What do you mean, hairy on the inside? Like a furry coat?
Hush now, foolish child.
Which I guess is to mean something like pretty on the outside, but evil on the inside. Like they're all platitudes or something along those lines.
Yeah, these are all moral parables in different
Yeah.
ways. Yeah.
So, a woman with extremely poofy hair, like from the animated film Brave.
Yeah, oh my god, yes, it's so much. She could hide so much crap in there.
Same with the Scottish woman from the
True.
last one.
As I mentioned earlier, werewolves seem to have a type. They like blue-eyed redheads with gigantic hair.
They
yes.
do.
Also, all of the boys too have like afros. Like everybody has like this huge curly.
Oh
hair.
yeah, the Hobbit Sean Penn Amorous boy. That's right, he did have that going on, didn't he?
Yeah, there's a Hobbit boy. All right. That's true.
Second dream. Go ahead. Sorry, Borks.
We've all been drinking. So
coffee. Drinking coffee.
Yeah. Anyways, she also warns her about the unibrows, and the groom, and by she I mean the grandma to Rosaline, not the lady getting married. But the lady getting married is getting married to a unibrow.
A traveling man. Yeah. He's the traveling man.
A traveling unibrow. And that's the main thing he sells, is his unibrow. And they're about to have the sex.
Yeah.
But then he sits on a hedgehog, or he steps on a hedgehog.
Mm-hmm. This is a hedgehog. Don't worry about it.
I love that this is... Sorry, I just love describing this movie because it's such fucking nonsense. Go ahead. So in the dream, she talks to her dream grandma after her dream sister was mauled while her real life sister is alive. And in the parable, they're about to have sex with him. The guy steps on a hedgehog. Go ahead. Yeah, we're all on the same page.
Yeah, and then Freddy Krueger shows up and he turns into a cartoon superhero as the cartoon man tries to fight it. Wait, no, that's Dream Warriors. My bad. So, after he steps on a hedgehog, he gets mad. So he goes to throw the hedgehog outside through the front door. But it's a full moon. So his eyes start turning, and he tells his bride, I gotta go take a piss.
I can't talk right now. I'm making piss.
Well, he says he feels the call of nature, but yeah.
And his eyes are all obviously fucked up because he's transforming into a werewolf.
So then he leaves to pee, and 7 hours later, his bride's like, oh, he's been pissing a long time.
Should I look for him?
Nah, I'm just gonna feed my hedgehog.
And so in the morning, they send out a search party, I guess, and they don't really find anything except a wolf print. So then it fast forwards. And she's had 3 children from some other man.
Those kids are unhappy, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And whatever kids they got to put on screen, they're not actors. They're just somebody's kids they put on screen.
All these little babies that are just screaming.
Yeah, these aren't child actors or anything. These are just, let's put some kid on screen. If it whines and bitches, we'll just be assholes to the kid.
That's perfect, yeah.
While she drags her potato peeling knife directly at her baby.
Directly at its face, yes. Very dangerous.
Yeah, you can see like Mary from accounting like gnawing her nails in the background of this scene, watching like,
please don't hurt.
Can you not do that with my kid, baby?
Yep. And then the pissing groom, which is his name, that's what it is in the credits, comes back
and he's like, oh my god, that was a good piss. Wow.
So what have you been up to taking that piss, huh?
You'll never believe the relief I feel. Holy shit.
Hey, where'd these fucking kids come from? What the hell?
Wait a minute. Yeah,
literally. God, he's so pissed that she had kids when he was gone for like 5 years.
Yeah, he's like, how dare you leave me after I abandoned you to pee in the woods? And he gets mad and starts attacking her, so then he transforms in a grotesque, awful transformation.
Yeah,
just
peeling all of his own skin off. Like, it's just... having watched the movie up to this point, you're not expecting anything like this.
No.
Because it's not that kind of film. And then suddenly there's a guy just... like on screen, just full on, not like in shadow, not like implied. No, he's just ripping all of his own flesh off, turning into a skeleton, or not even a skeleton. It's like an anatomical model because you can see all the muscles.
Yeah, you can see the muscles and fibers. It's kind of like the Howling 4 transformation, with all the gross satanic like ripping
the
of
skin
flesh
bubbling off.
But it's also kind of like The Thing, where you see like gross muscle like dog parts coming out of a body.
Yes, yeah, because like they do a lot of this specific thing, although in different ways in the transformations, where like a mouth opens and another mouth kind of comes out and becomes the snout. And they do that kind of thing here too, where he like kind of screams and then his mouth just elongates and he's all weird muscle and eyes, and it's incredible. It's a really neat transformation. There's some cool visual effects in this movie.
Oh, did I mention the transformation in this film are actually fucking badass?
Hell yeah. I think this might finally have topped the human suit.
Being a werewolf in this world fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So after the transformation, the husband comes home, and what happens, Urchin? What does he do?
So he sees what's happening before him, and quite sensibly, I might add, he goes ahead and grabs his handy little headsman's axe that he has, which I thought was a shovel. Thank you for correcting me, Ilion. And just lops the motherfucker's head off. Just cuts it right off, and it falls right into the milk pail.
That axe does not look sharper than a shovel,
no.
by the way.
No,
so you were
it's
fair
dull.
to think that.
Werewolves are very, very fragile in this movie. They're not actually very threatening.
Like my favorite part is he walks in the door. He looks at the scene for like a second. He's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, that's just he walks in like, huh. Well.
He just casually grabs the axe. He's like, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna behead this guy." I don't know.
And we're not quite done yet, though, because after he does that, and the head falls in, then of course the head turns back into a human head, as you'd expect with a werewolf. And she's like, "Oh no, this was my ex. This was my old husband, or whatever." And the other guy just looks at her, just fucking slaps her in the face. It's like,
yeah,
come on, what the fuck, dude?
Is he the wolf now? Is he evil inside? I don't know what any of this means.
I'm not sure. I think the film is just saying that men suck.
I think that was it. I think the message of that dream was men are assholes.
Yeah, I think
that was it. Yeah.
I think that's a message of a lot of the dreams, and it's not wrong.
Yeah. But so that's Dream 2. Dream 3, Grandma's telling Rosaline another story, but this one's about cool stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of, a warning. This one's, hey, if you're ever walking around in the woods, don't stray from the path, because you'll be like this random boy who found drugs. And by drugs, I mean the devil rolled up in his Rolls Royce.
The devil played by Terrence Stamp.
Right.
We should mention Terrence Stamp.
Yep,
God, this film's cast is ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's cool.
There's like
because
4 Academy Award winners.
They've been showing a lot of like wolf eyes in the woods to light up, to make them look scary.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a similar thing here where they do like the wolf eyes, but like, wait, that's just car headlights. What?
Yeah, and then
the
slowly
car
comes into
rolls
focus, and it's a car. Yeah,
it's a fucking fancy ass Rolls Royce. Like, that's a nice car.
But the way they shoot it implies the same way that they shot the eyes previously, so it's actually like really clever.
Yeah, it was a good shot. Very good shot.
Yeah. The visual language and cinematography of this movie is almost unimpeachable in my mind. Like, it's fucking fantastic.
I kind of want to have to look up the cinematographer for this film, honestly,
because it's beautifully shot. Like it's done kind of stage play-esque, and you could have
fuck. Guess what other film? Brian Loftus was the cinematographer. You know what other film he did? 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no, this guy was legit.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that this film is visually enthralling. Personally, I thought that it was stunning.
Yeah, but so the devil hands him a drug in a little vial, and then just drives off. And the boy or the guy, he's a teenager, I guess.
He looks at this liquid.
Yeah, he grabs.
He does the only
liquid.
thing you would do with a liquid.
Yeah, it's Vicks Vapor Rub, guys. I'm telling you.
He rubs it all over his chest, which causes him to go through
Yeah.
puberty.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what Vicks Vapor Rub does.
Like an accelerated puberty.
You know, they say put some hair on your chest. That's
I don't think they literally mean.
And then vines on your legs.
Yeah, what was up with the vines?
I don't know. That's a very confusing bit. Like the
It
rest
was
of
like
them
an
turned to
Evil
werewolf,
Dead
sure.
vine too. I don't.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
he doesn't really turn to a werewolf either. He just gets a little bit of hair on his chest, and then he starts screaming and going like, "No, no!" And that's kind of it. This one was the weirdest one.
And
for
yeah, he
me.
shows up in Rosaline's mirror at the end of it. So maybe he turned into a werewolf after that. Maybe he just woke up. Yeah, he does.
What was the message? Was it don't do drugs? Was it drugs are cool?
Yeah, I think it's if Terrence Stamp rolls up in his Rolls Royce and offers you drugs, take them.
But not through your skin. Ask him how to actually take
exactly,
them. Don't just rub it on your fucking chest.
You're right. That's the thing. He didn't ask, and that's why this happened.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
That makes a lot of sense.
If somebody's gonna give you some kind of research chemical named like ZX77, you've got to know what to do with that thing. You can't just start rolling in it.
Maybe the message is that the amorous boy is going through puberty and he's going to be interested in her, and because that's led into the amorous boy.
Sure, but it's not the same
Hobbit.
person.
No, it's not the same person. And it
No, but
the
it was a
Amherst boy
very
showed up before.
similar looking boy.
Yeah, we thought it was him initially.
Yeah, yeah. With a haircut, we're like, why did he get a haircut between scenes? Like his
Yeah.
hair's all different. It's weird.
But
this one, yeah.
My theory is that was supposed to be a bit of a foretelling of this amorous boy going after Rosaline. And
I
he's going
definitely
through
don't have a
puberty.
better
So
theory.
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That's my best guess.
Does the graveyard scene happen after that? I'm trying to remember where that falls in the film because that wasn't
Graveyard,
really like a.
Graveyard's pretty late. Late
Graveyard
in the
was
movie.
really late.
What happened after that is that the amorous boy and Rosaline go running in the woods, and then Rosaline climbs up a tree at the end of a rainbow. We have not been drinking.
This all sounds like a fucking shitpost.
It's a stage lit tree at the end of a rainbow. And after she climbs up the tree, she finds a stork's nest.
Oh God, this bit.
With eggs in it and a mirror. And as she grabs the mirror and put lipstick on, because she's growing into adulthood, just like the boy in the dream previously was growing through puberty.
Well, and also they're going through the woods because it's basically like their first date kind of thing. Like he gives her flowers to ask her to go in the woods and all this kind of stuff. And then she's like, "Oh, if you catch me, I'll give you a kiss." Like it's very much they're
flirting.
They're getting ready to have the sex.
And of course, at the top of the tree in the stork's nest, she finds eggs that hatch into tiny little babies, like human babies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very distressing little babies.
But
And
the
then-
weirdest
yeah.
thing is that she takes the baby home, the
Uh-huh,
little
yeah,
tiny
yeah.
plastic baby.
Yes.
That she got out of like a I don't know, one of those 25-cent
eggs, yeah.
like.
No, you get them out of. It's not out of a gachapon. You get them out of stork's eggs,
Yeah,
obviously,
exactly.
at the
Stork's
top of
eggs.
rainbow trees
Yeah, but
in the
she
Black
showed-
Forest.
She shows up because
Boy, so their parents not have the talk with you?
No, I had the talk.
The birds and the
okay.
wolves.
I had this talk. But so. What the fuck was I talking about?
The little plastic baby. The plastic baby, and she goes home.
Right. So the plastic baby is Albert Einstein.
Okay.
And the stork is capitalism.
Okay, and the snow was Richard Dawkins, I think. Or
It's
that's a frog.
all metaphors. You see.
Uh-huh.
But she takes the plastic baby home after everybody in the village was worried that she was found by wolves. And,
Yeah, that
and
she was
dead.
Missing,
And she's not. She's fine, but she just has a plastic baby now that she shows her mom. Like she's like, "Hey mom, look what I found." And the mom's like, oh, "That's my plastic baby. Yeah, you found it."
And like smiles and basically like claps, like she's like so overjoyed to see this little plastic baby being unfurled. I also want to mention the one thing that you missed about that is that when she opens up her hands to show her the plastic baby, the plastic baby drops a single tear.
It sure does.
It cries.
A very oily looking tear.
Was that like a Mother Mary, like, crying?
This is a Hideo Kojima movie, is what this is.
Yeah, what was that, like the
Wolf's
Mary
Landing?
statue crying oil? Like, what was that? I don't. That had to have some religious meaning, but
maybe.
Look, Mummy.
Oh.
What?
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm gonna admit, I don't quite follow that. I'm sorry.
What? I don't get it.
Again, it's all. This is an art film, is what this is. This is very much an art film, and I personally really, really liked that about it. But also, if you want to watch a movie with a comprehensible plot and visual language that's just going to tell you what it's about in any way, this is the wrong fucking film, because none of it actually makes any sense. Really,
Also, the wrong podcast for that too. Honestly, given what we usually watch.
It's layers and layers and layers of bullshit. Like, it's
like every stage just has random animals too, like we were talking about earlier.
Every scene has a different animal.
I don't know why
in it.
there's like a toad in this scene, a pigeon in this scene, a bunny in this scene.
Well,
and
the
it's just
pigeons
like,
are there to shit in the well.
Well,
if there's a bird in the movie, their purpose is shit in the well.
That makes sense. Most of them shit in the well, yeah.
There is something up with the frog, by the way.
I don't know what
Like,
the frog
I don't
is
know what
a
it
metaphor for.
Because the frog first shows up when the sister's having her funeral, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there's just a frog on top of her coffin as they're like shoveling dirt into the hole.
Yeah, it shows up a little before that and like hops in, and then they're shoveling it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it shows up later on the log when like Rosaline's running through the forest, I think, or something. And then it shows up again and again.
What is it just a fairy tale? Is it just like this is a fairy tale thing? I don't know. I don't know.
Like, that's the thing. The frog feels like it has some kind of significance because there's animals in almost every scene, but the frog is the same frog, and it keeps showing up, and it's always like zoomed in really on, like it's like a focal point, and I don't know what the fuck they're going for with it. Like,
yeah, I don't know what the significance of a toad would be there. Yeah.
Honestly, the answer to it might just be like you said. It's a cool fairy tale thing. Just throw it in there. Like, it's so hard to tell how much of it is like on purpose metaphor and how much of it you're supposed to read into or not. Like, it's a fantastical journey.
Might be part of the dream sequence they're trying to set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But okay, so the fifth dream is the classic fairy tale.
Yeah.
Do you want to go into that? Because there's also where after the Rosalind and Amber's boy, then there's the whole thing with where they're trying to trap the wolf.
Yes. Oh yeah, they do catch the wolf. We can go into that. Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, because So basically, at the end, during that whole sequence, they also find a cow dead, which one of the villagers is far more upset about that than the potential that the girl might be eaten by a wolf. But, look, daughters are one thing, but heifers are another, as he says.
Oh, that's because the amorous boy was following Rosaline, who was going in. Like, was she going to go into the woods, or was this before?
No, this is when they went on their little date in the woods, and she ran away.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah. They have a fight afterwards because the dad's mad the son left his daughter in the woods.
David Warner, a brawl happens.
Yeah, David
Warner.
Every film needs. Fight. God, I love David Warner.
But once they establish that she shows up and she's fine, there's like, oh, we gotta catch that damn wolf. Better get the goose.
Yes.
Yeah, they just kind of like set up a pit trap, like a tiger pit, which are illegal. And then they catch the wolf, and every individual person in the town
Park Ranger comes through and finds every single one of these villagers. How dare you? You can't do this trapping. Do you have a license for that? You can't just... And it turns out he should have, because they didn't practice hunter safety, because it turned out when they chopped his hand off, it turned into a man. So they killed a person.
Yeah, the hands of Manos. Yeah.
then then the David Warner chucks the hand in the fireplace, and you think that ring's gonna mean something, and then it never does.
No, yeah, so there's like a big aquamarine ring on this hand, which in theory should have significance to a character that we know, but it doesn't.
No, it's just
Not
there.
as far as I knew, yeah. I don't remember that ring being on anybody.
There was no zoom in on a camera for that ring, so...
I was wondering if it was the guy from the Rolls Royce stream, but I don't know if he had a ring on. I doubt it.
think he did.
Looked more poor.
No, I don't think so, yeah.
Unless Wolfing Out like really did well for him, I don't know.
No. But afterwards, Granny makes Rosaline a red shawl so that she turns into Red Riding Hood. So that we can have a Red Riding Hood story, because why not?
Yeah. Oh, and we established that. Hold on, I wrote down the recipe. If you're born on Christmas with a unibrow and feet first, you are definitely a werewolf.
No, that makes sense, yeah.
If you know anyone like that, keep your eye on them.
Yeah. So then Rosaline decides to go into the woods to go to Grandma's house. Like the
Hot
story.
tip, if you know anyone born on the 25th of December, ask for their birthing video. It's very important. So
don't do that. So anyways, as she's going into the woods, the amorous boy
the local court's mind.
the amorous boy starts to flirt with her again. He's like, "Oh, you're going to the woods? You should let me go with you so I can protect you. Look, I have a knife." And then Rosaline pulls out a bigger knife. She's like, "You call that a knife? I'm here to shank a wolf."
Yeah, like a way bigger knife. She has like a fucking half machete. It's great. He's got this little like Swiss Army knife that he's carving a little piece of wood with. And he's like, "Look, I'm a big warrior. I got my big knife." She's like, "Get the fuck out of here."
Look, I know how to stab.
I do think that it is meant to kind of emasculate him in a lot of
It
ways.
is.
Like,
This
character, this Red Riding Hood character especially, becomes very empowered, and it shows how much she is beyond him, boy. He is nothing to her.
It's a long way through the woods. Let me come with you. You be safe with me.
Go into the woods with you? After what happened last time?
Let me come. I'll protect you.
I got a knife.
Got this to protect me.
Oh, that's
not
a
a
knife.
knife.
Yeah, that's not a knife. Yeah.
So she goes into the woods and she meets a hunter, a trapper,
Yeah, the huntsman.
The huntsman, who is putting the moves on her. Very creepily.
Ugh.
Very creepy.
Yeah.
He's a very fancy hunter, though, we should mention. He's dressed to the nines for this hunting trip.
And he wants to show her something that's in his pocket that only she can see that's special.
The film's not being subtle with it at all.
It points him anywhere that he needs to go, and it pointed him directly to her.
Yeah, and that, of course, is...
a compass.
His penis.
A
compass.
A compass.
A compass.
His big antique compass.
So they decide to have a bet on who can get to Grandma's house first. For some reason. And she's like, "Okay, well, if I win, you give me that compass, because it's cool. And if you win, I have to kiss you, or whatever. I don't know, it's not going to happen.
It was kiss, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. So then
I'll kiss this 35-year-old man.
Sure. So they do the bet, and the hunter makes it to Grandma's house first. He knocks on the door, and Angela Lansbury's like, "Who is it?" "Oh, it's just your granddaughter." "Oh, great."
He's doing his best Monty Python woman voice.
Yeah, Monty Python voice.
Yeah, as we know, any man that's sufficiently British, if they pitch up their voice, instantly becomes
Monty
indistinguishable. Indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he comes in, and she realizes, like, "Oh my god, it's a horrible murder wolf." And then we get a fucking cool as shit duel to the death between Grandma and the Wolfman.
This is some weird shit, man. This
Yeah.
is some weird shit.
He pulls out his
minx is
long-ass
screaming
tongue.
at him.
Yeah, he's got the shaggy dog tongue.
Yes, but practical effect. It looks awful, but like in the way that they meant it to look awful.
Exactly.
Like,
it's distressing.
It's gross. It's real gross.
And then we discover that Angela Lansbury was ceramic all along.
Yeah, because after she tries to poke him with a red hot poker, he just grabs it with his hand. And then he just, like, very casually slaps his hand to the side and knocks her head off, which was porcelain.
Yep, just knocks her head clean off. It hits the fireplace and shatters.
Which, if they did so much gore before with the transformation, what? And the head and the milk?
I mean, it's Angela Lansbury. She's too classy for gore. Of course she's going to burst into porcelain. It makes sense. I'll buy it.
I think that it's kind of a tie-in. So in the first dream, we didn't mention it as much when the sister is getting mauled. All of the toys that were in the 1980s bedroom are in the woods.
Yeah.
But they come to life, like a teddy bear and all of her porcelain dolls that are creepy as shit. Oh my god, those porcelain dolls. And different things like God, we need to post up pictures of the dolls from this. Porcelain dolls gives you like a specific mental image, and it's not that. It's very, very different.
No.
But I kind of feel like it's implied in a way like that was the grandma, like her being a witch and like all that.
Now that you mention it, there was a grandma porcelain doll with the round glasses.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
so maybe that was supposed to be her dream version of her doll. That's
probably
true.
I think
that makes sense.
Like,
that makes sense.
I kind of felt like it was all of that, and I feel like the dolls never attacked her in that way. Like it might have been a misunderstanding in a way, and again, like being out in the woods and having her own power and tying into that fourth dream and all that. I kind of feel like it's just maybe that. Like I said, she's all tied in with the dolls, and like that's kind of the feminine power thing. But,
so then, after he kills the doll grandma, Rosaline shows up, and then they do the whole "Wow, what big teeth you have! What big arms you have to hug me with" thing. And the wolf attacks Rosaline, who pulls out the knife to shank him. Which he very casually knocks out of her hand. And then the moment Rosaline gets a single solitary fucking second to turn the tables, she pulls out a huge fucking rifle.
It's his gun, too.
Yeah,
it's his own gun.
Yeah.
And she's packing heat and she's ready to fire.
I fucking love Rosaline in this story. She's so good. She's a badass.
Yep. So she shoots the wolf in the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And then the transformation begins.
Yeah, which causes the transformation into a cute doggo. And then she's...
it's the transformation from the cover. I wanted to mention that real
quick. With the mouth coming out of the mouth. Yeah, the really creepy looking one. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, I didn't know wolves could cry. Maybe you're not so bad after all, man who murdered my porcelain grandma.
Yeah, that's the bit that kind of bothers me, because she's like, well, I shot you, so I instantly forgive you for murdering my beloved grandma.
Because she feels bad for him, I guess?
Yeah.
And then the dream after that is about the cat's wolf lady coming out of the well and being cared for by a priest.
Oh.
So that...
We missed... she turns into a werewolf, too, though. We missed that part.
At the end, yes, she turns into a wolf at the end of that story.
But we kind of have, like, interjected in this one is also the story. That's what Boyx is saying is because
Rosaline is telling him the story of the she-wolf.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She's down with the wolf. You're right.
They do a story in this this dream.
It's like 3 levels deep.
Look, it's hard to parse the exact flow of events. Yes. I'm sorry.
But the story of that is that a wolf gets injured by a hunter, gets cared for by a priest, and then she never forgets that she was cared for, I guess, even though she's a wolf. So she lives in their well in hell now.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, the well,
the hell well. Yeah,
but there's a whole big kind of philosophical conversation between them here, where she's asking him. She's like, well, are you one of us or are you one of them? Are you like a beast or are you a man? And he goes, well, maybe I'm a little of both. Maybe I'm neither. Like it kind of, he's like, I don't think that I'm part of that world at all. Either one of them. And then so they have this conversation of like, is he a bad guy? And it's like, well, in some ways, yes. Am I a good guy? In some ways, yes. Like, so it kind of does that whole thing. Like when you're saying, I don't know what it's saying here. Is he good or bad? Like after she shoots him, I mean, he was even saying that his teeth were good to eat her with, kind of thing. But then it's because he's got layers, right?
Like an
it's that
onion.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
he's an onion.
He's like a Shrek, is what you're saying.
Yes. What I'm saying is that he's a Shrek. This is all a fairy tale.
I don't think Shrek murdered Fiona's like grandmother.
Are you sure?
Have you seen Shrek 2?
I don't
Hello?
I don't think that's what happened. Yeah.
Actually, is kind of what happens. Her grandmother is. That's totally Shrek 2, actually. No, you're totally wrong. That's kind of Shrek 2.
I don't remember Shrek 2 very well, I guess.
Shrek 2 is the fairy grandmother that comes and, like, tries to subvert the thing and take over him. And
okay, so the end message of Company of Wolves is exactly like Shrek 2.
Shrek 2,
okay. That makes sense.
But at the end, Rosalina starts waking up, and that causes all the wolves to start running through everything that happened in the dreams, going through the forest, going through the land of her creepy fucking toys. And then
they kind of go backwards through the film.
Yeah, they literally run back up into the house that she's in, back up the stairs to her bedroom, through the fucking windows, through the walls, through the paintings.
Yeah.
In this really wild sequence of these very cute boys running
so
through
happy.
This house to go get pets and treats. And then she wakes up, and that's the end with some, I don't know, I guess there's a voiceover at the end that tries to wrap it all together.
I was actually looking this up. So, she screams as one of the dogs leaps through the window, and you feel that she's screaming because she's worried the dog might get cut by that glass, obviously.
Yeah.
She's clearly not screaming because of terror or anything.
Oh, God. No.
But yeah, apparently what's being read at the end is an excerpt from Perrault's Le Petit Chaperon Rouge. So, one of the French versions of Little Red Riding Hood.
Little Red Riding Hood, yeah.
Okay, so you're saying I need to be smarter for this movie?
Yes, I think so.
That's my problem.
Yes.
Well, I mean, that's the film. That's the Company of Wolves. It's mostly a weird in and out dream sequence vignette tale of metaphors about womanhood and men and sex and relationships and taking cool drugs and not being able to pet all the dogs.
Hellwells, yeah.
Hellwell. I don't know what the Hellwell's about still. Why do they have this well that goes to hell in the middle of their town that's full of bird shit? What is that?
I think that, honestly, the one thing that I'm really getting from this is I feel that Urchin has subverted our podcast and actually brought us a good film that he was pretending.
Yeah.
When did I say it was a bad movie? Didn't I show you the images from this film? Like, what about the images didn't imply it was a good movie?
Yeah.
Fair.
It's an interesting movie. It's something that afterwards leaves you with a lot of thoughts and questions.
Yes.
But not necessarily always in a bad way, like, what the fuck?
No.
It was more like, what the fuck?
It's one of those what the fuck films that's like pleasantly what the fuck.
Huh.
It's like, oh, this is like, I can puzzle through this. It's not like, oh my god, what the fuck is happening? It's, I wonder what's happening here.
Yeah, again, this is to me, this is very much an art piece. You sit down and watch this movie in the same way that you like sit down and watch like stare at a painting in an art gallery, kind of like going over all the little pieces of it and going like, oh, what were they saying here? What were they saying there? And like, you'll never get a full picture of it, but just thinking about what they might have been trying to say and the context around when they were saying it and all that stuff is kind of interesting. Like, this is super an art film. Oh my god. It is wildly odd.
Sort of film that I think a lot of people I know just assume is probably just I sit around in my dark basement watching all day.
Yeah, and to loop it back to my tale of seeing this in the rental store. This thing being labeled horror, feels like a crime.
Where do you put it?
Because I remember walking past this on the shelf and thinking like, oh, that looks terrifying, seeing that mouth come out of a mouth. You're thinking like The Fly, the thing.
Yes.
That's the type of thing you're thinking of. And instead you get like talks about, I don't know, growing up in relationships, and it's fucking weird. It's not at all the horror that it's labeled. There's just horrific elements.
Yeah, I mean, the transformations, definitely, you could put those in any werewolf movie, and they'd be right. They'd fit right. In fact, be better than almost every other werewolf movie, especially of the era. Those bits are so strange in context with the rest of the movie. Yeah, I love them, but it's just they don't fit almost.
Yeah, I have to agree with Urchin about what Urchin said with this right away. His reaction was, though, where do you put it?
I don't know. The horror aisle feels wrong, though.
I guess,
yeah.
But like, also, what feels right?
Yeah, I kind of feel
make a new section.
Yeah, I feel like you have to put this in horror only because of the transformation sequences, and not because it's accurate to that. But if you're going to have parents come in and complain, like you can't really put this elsewhere because those transformation sequences are fucking wild. Like some of them are real gross, and I don't think that you can really show that without
if you put this in another section and you kept but you kept the cover the same. If an adult rented that movie with that cover for their kids, that's their own damn fault.
That is their fault.
Yeah, but you can't explain that to parents, man. I can't imagine being a Blockbuster employee and having to explain why the fuck did I rent this goddamn movie? And I'm like, I don't know. You picked it.
Ilan, here's the thing. It doesn't matter. Parents will still rent those things and complain. Like, God, just a quick little aside here. When I went to see Pan's Labyrinth in theaters when it came out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so many there were a whole bunch of families that brought their kids to that R-rated movie. Very obvious R. And they were so pissed. It's like, what were you expecting?
My dad rented...
Sorry,
my dad rented Fire in the Sky for me twice as a kid.
Oh, cool.
Pan's Labyrinth was actually advertised as a children's film in some places, so I think that's partly the advertising
fair.
problem.
It still has an R rating right on it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But anyway, that's Company of Wolves. It's a thinker. It's a thinker.
This is a movie that I could talk about for a long time.
But let's get to the real meat of the podcast, the real hair inside of our
the real unibrow.
Let's rate those.
The
dogs.
hell in the well. Yeah.
Yeah, the hell in the well. So there's a lot of dogs.
Oh, there's shitloads of them.
Oh my god.
I think are there any there's the she-wolf dog, I guess. There's the big bad wolf, and then there's just an amalgam of random dogs in a pack.
Yeah, that's the three. Yeah, there's one actual wolf-looking wolf in the film.
Oh, there's also the French dog.
Oh, the French dog, the tiny little one, yeah.
Yeah, the little toy dog. Yeah. So let's start with French dog. Little tiny toy dog, loves to eat food at a rich people's wedding. Doesn't really give a shit if its owners turn into wolves and run away. That's a good dog.
It's a mix-up. I appreciate the mix-up on dogs. So not everything's wolves. We get this other thing. So yeah, that gives it some points for me.
Yeah, I think that's a guillotine the rich out of 10 dog.
Yep.
Yeah.
But leave their dogs alone. Their dogs are innocent.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, their dogs are innocent.
Dogs can't be rich.
There's she-wolf who dances around like a Cats actor. I don't know. That dog.
Wait, dogs can't be rich. Well. You should see Millionaire Dogs. we need to rewatch Millionaire Dogs at the theater.
But okay, so She-Wolf lives in their well now. Dog. I don't know what the hell's up with She-Wolf. I don't know what She-Wolf's plan is here.
But still a good, cute dog. I mean,
yeah.
Considering the art and parable of all of this movie, I'm going to have to give it a slowly unfurling white rose with a drop of blood hitting it and turning it red.
That could mean anything. Yeah, that could mean anything.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the big bad wolf. Kind of a weird, creepy dick. I don't really like this dog at all. I think this dog's like an 8 out of 10. It's not even close to a 10 out of 10 dog.
No. Although, I guess maybe in wolf form, he's just more agreeable, because she goes with him at the end, if you recall.
Rosalina does turn into a dog and then run into the woods with him. That's true.
Yeah,
I think that was a mistake.
We forgot about that bit.
I think that was a mistake.
Possible. Maybe he's just shitty as a dude, and as a dog, he's great.
Yeah, and then all the dogs that will literally burst through the wall to try and get pets. And the paintings and the windows. Those are good dogs.
Just
Oh, yeah,
one
no,
moment.
those-
I didn't actually get to rate the Huntsman dog.
Oh, yeah,
I
go
do
on,
wanna
sorry, go
mention
ahead.
that. I do
Yeah,
want
go
to
on.
mention that. I just had to do some quick calculations here. You might have heard me typing.
Add the puppy factor, yeah.
Yeah. I'm carrying the zeros. It's got to be a 6 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Which is the number of layers that it has, because it's going to match up with the Shrek films, because that dog's a fucking Shrek.
I see.
There we go. Done.
That's a Shrek
Okay, that's
right there,
yep, that's pretty scientific. Yeah, I can accept that.
Yeah, I had to get the Shrek factor in there. I'm sorry. We needed to do the Shrek equation.
Thank you.
But that's it for this episode. Thank you for joining us, Urchin. Is there anything you want to plug?
I guess just my Twitch, evil_Urchin on Twitch. I stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. During the week, it's all Dead by Daylight, and on Saturday, me and Devious Vacuum usually play a Warhammer game of some kind.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, y'all should check out Urchin Stream, 100%. We also have social media. You can check us out on co-host at Rough Cuts. We also are technically still on Twitter. You can check us out on TikTok at Rough Cuts Cast, and email us at roughcutscast@gmail.com if you ever want to get in touch with us or send us any fan mail or art or anything like that. That's a great place to do it.
Again, thanks to all the patrons and stuff all the patrons that help us do this, because a lot of the times we do have to pay for subscriptions and things like that. Thank you, Evil Urchin, for the Shudder and everything.
Yeah.
So,
no problem.
And also, if you have Shudder, make sure to watch your weekly One Cut of the Dead.
And Joe Bob's Last Drive-In.
That's true. God, it's so good. I think that's it for this episode. So, thanks for watching. I think we're all gonna go have a nap with our creepy dolls and LSD and see what.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna go pop some acid, surround myself by a bunch of stuffed animals and mirrors, and take a nice gentle nap.
Just see what happens.
See how many layers I can get in myself.
I'm trying to go 6 deep.
All right. See you next time.
Bye. I think she's like someone from Persona, one of the Velvet Room people.
Oh, she invented jazz? Oh, here, take my finest drugs.
Here, have my vial of LSD.